Good afternoon, Wargamers. Mechrat back at it again, and we got some content for you. Over the past week, GW has been absolutely cooking, releasing faction rules for every faction. So we've got the first like 6 or so out now, and I'm going to cover them all in this video, and then next Sunday I will cover them all again all throughout the week. I didn't want to make a million 10-minute long videos, so you get this instead. And if you want a million 10-minute long videos, let me know in the comments and I'll do that instead. But I want to do this, so this is what we're going to start with. So let's get started covering the brand spanking new faction rules. Let's see if GW cooked or not, if we've got some flavor back in our game. Spoiler alert, GW cooked. So we'll start with faction rules. Skaven, we got 2 new battle formations, 3 new heroic traits, and 2 new war scrolls. So I basically will just go through them, give you my thoughts on them, whether I think they're competitively viable or not, whether they're fun, well written, and all of that stuff, and then we'll move on, and we'll try to make this video under an hour because I'm notorious for making long form content. So without further ado, let's talk about the rats. We got 2 new battle formations. Number 1 is Will of the Horned Rat, which gives your Vermin Lords a 4-up pass off to Skaven infantry, non-hero Skaven infantry. So this is fine. It's not great. Vermin Lords already have a 5-up board that negates the damage. I'd rather take a 5-up board negating damage than a 4-up pass off most of the time. So the only reason I think you would ever take this is if you're running like Vizek with a million clan rats and you really want to protect Vizek. But even then, if you're running a million clan rats, you should probably just run the Verminous subfaction to get +1 rend on the charge. So yeah, I think definitely the weaker of these 2 new subfactions and probably will not see much play. The other one though, Gathering of the Clans, it lets you triple redeploy Skaven units. Basically, when you redeploy 1 Skaven unit, you can pick 2 more that are all wholly within 13 of the first, and they can all redeploy after him. Master Clan is bingo locked out of this, which is a little sad, but whatever. Most of the time when you're redeploying something anyway, it's going to be a screen or a hammer unit, which is not Master Clan. So this is actually good in my opinion. Triple redeploy is really funny. We have access to auto 4 redeploy with the Deceiver and with Eshin troops, so you could do something extra funny there. But at bare minimum, this just gives you more free movement, which is good in a movement game. So hey, I give it a 10. It's not a 10. It's like a 7 out of 10 maybe. It's okay. Better than Will of the Horned Rat. It's probably not as good as the Scryer and Molder subfactions or the Verminous subfaction, but it's something. It's interesting. But yeah, the battle formations, the 2 new ones are probably the weakest part of the Skaven faction rules. The heroic traits, let's get into those. 2 of these I think are actually useful and good. One of them is just a meme, but it's a funny meme. Devious Underling is one of the 2 good ones. 6-up ward for infantry is good. Most of our infantry is like somewhat wound dense, so giving them a ward is going to be useful. And +2 to charge. It's a little hard to get because you have to kill whatever hero you picked to get the +2 to charge. But because we're an army with teleports and deep strikes, charge bonuses are good. Sadly, it's only charge bonuses to infantry, which makes it a little bit less good, but it's still good. Overall, Devious Underling is interesting. I think the main reason you take it is for the ward. It does combo really, really well with the new Screaming Bell War Scroll that we'll cover in a minute. But yeah, it's interesting. I think Flesh Meddler is also good. +1 rend for Molder, it's good. Rat Ogres can do a lot of damage. So giving them +1 rend, you know, makes them do more damage. Unfortunately, this doesn't affect the Hell Pit because it's companion, and it's not really that good on Storm Fiends because they have multiple different weapon profiles, and this tells you to pick one weapon profile. So it's really best used on Rat Ogres. Rat Ogres, I mean, they already have a way to get +1 to rend, and you aren't seeing people play them, so I'm not sure how good this actually is, but it's not a bad rule because +1 to rend is good. Like, just, that's a fact. So if Rat Ogres get cheaper, or the new GHB rules allow Rat Ogres to be more effective, I could see people playing this. Pit Tinker is a meme. Scryer War Machines are mostly bad. The only good one is the Doom Flayers, and they're not good enough that you take your entire heroic trait just to let them reroll their move characteristic. And the reason you're taking them is because they do tons of damage, not because they do impact mortal wounds. And I don't think the Doom Wheels do enough impact mortal wounds / rolling Doom mortal wounds to make this worth it. So, meme. So let's talk about the things you're really here for. The War Scrolls. We'll start with the weaker of the two, but it's still really good. The new Brood Terror. The shooting attack is the same, still good. The melee is more or less the same, still decent. He has a 5-up ward now, so he's a lot more durable, which is great. He lost his -1 to hit rampage, but he gained a +1 to hit rampage for your troops. So you're basically trading defense durability for offense. And he still has the heal D6. The heal D6 is a lot more meaningful now that he has a 5-up ward built in. So where does this guy land? He's a great buff piece. +1 to hit is the buff that you want for Molder because all their stuff hits on 4s. The problem is, once again, it can't be used on the Hell Pit because he's got companion. It's okay on other Brood Terrors. Can't be used on Storm Fiends because it's non-Scryer Molder units. So what is this really made for? It's really made for Rat Ogres. You'll notice that some of these rules are kind of, they really want you to buy and play Rat Ogres. So +1 to hit is good for Rat Ogres. +1, you know, it's, I don't really have much to say, honestly. This is just more of a side grade than an upgrade. I mean, the 5-up ward is a straight upgrade, but I'd rather he had the 5-up ward and then the -1 to hit, I think, personally. But he's fine. He's fine. It'll be fun to try at least once. I'll run a U list that has like 3 units of Rat Ogres, and then we'll give it a try and see if it's good. But the real star of the show here is the Grey Seerung Screaming Bell. He gained charge +1 damage on his crushing bulk, so he actually does quite a bit of damage in combat now. He lost his useless War Scroll spell and all of the bullshit randomness from his War Scroll. Now he has an insanely good War Scroll spell, a pulse healing wholly within 13 every Skaven unit, not just Skaven infantry or anything. Every Skaven wholly within 13 heals D3 at the end of every turn. And he gives +2 move to all Skaven wholly within 13 on odd battle rounds, and -1 to be hit for even battle rounds. So he always works. Everything on his War Scroll except for his spell just works because you have to get the spell off first, but you don't have to roll for anything. Everything works. He does a million useful things. He gives you defense with -1 to hit. He gives you offense with +2 to move. He gives you regeneration with the heal. His spell is amazing. It basically turns him into a null hole for everything except starting a teleport at him. The way it's worded, I believe you can exit from him, but you can't start from him. But you can summon from him, you can deep strike through him, and you can teleport to him, which are the 3 things that you really want to be able to do from him. Like, there's so many shenanigans you can do with this spell. You could teleport him up using Skitter Leap and then deep strike a bunch of stuff through him. You could use him to teleport other units. It's just like, it's so useful, man. It gives you so much flexibility and so many cool things you can do. And +2 to move is just amazing. +2 to move on everything in our army is amazing. -1 to be hit on anything in our army is equally amazing. He synergizes really well with a lot of our like bigger infantry and our vermin lords. He does so many things well. So, and he's even like not egregiously overcosted. I'll cover the costs right now because I've talked about the war scrolls. He's 310, which is really reasonable for a buff wagon of his caliber. The Brood Terror is 240, so a little bit cheaper and more durable. He might see play. I could definitely see it, but the Screaming Bell is really what you're here for. Like, he is GW really cooked with this one. Insert the Pacha doing this meme. Like, oh man, I'm so excited to try him out. I cannot wait. Yeah, overall, I would say the star of the show is the new Gracier on Screaming Bell. The Brood Terror is neat. Devious Underlings is cool. Flesh Meddler is neat. Backstabbing Allies is neat. Will of the Horned Rat, Pit Tinkerer, whatever. But overall, good job, GW. Great start to the Scourge of Ghyran faction rules. Let's see what Stormcast has to offer. So we got 3 new heroic traits, 3 new artifacts, and 1 new war scroll. So let's talk about the heroic traits. We got Legendary Tenacity, which is like the Sylvaneth artifact. The first time he's destroyed, or the bearer is destroyed, on a 3-up they're not destroyed, and they heal a little bit. Kind of cute. Could save a Star Drake, and then he like runs away and heals a whole bunch. I think you have other heroic traits that are better than this, but this one's kind of cute at least. Then you got Intense Piety, which is it's pretty bad. Pick an enemy, priest or wizard with an 18 on a 3-up. They get -1 to cast and chant. -1 to chant can be annoying. -1 to cast, not really that backbreaking. You have better hero traits than this. You don't take Intense Piety. It just doesn't do enough. And you could fail it on a 3-up. You'd rather take a hero trait that just gives you something. Speaking of hero traits that just give you something, Hour of Glory. This unit can be picked to use the Finest Hour ability, even if it's already been picked to use it. In addition, when he is picked to use the Finest Hour ability, he gets +5 control score. Wow, that's great. Like, +2 save, or 2-up save forever. Amazing. +5 control score to like a Star Drake is hilarious, and actually pretty good. Plus, you know, it's just great. Finest Hour is already a really great ability, both for offense and defense, and being able to just forever put it on like a Star Drake or something is amazing. So yeah, that's the one you take of these 3. But Legendary Tenacity is also potentially interesting. I could see you playing it if you want. Now onto the artifacts. GW really cooked with these. I think all 3 of these artifacts are good. I think the weakest is Banner of Sigmar. It's like a once per battle that has a medium range, that has a potentially really useful effect. It's until the start of your next turn, your opponent cannot control the target objective while they have no units contesting it. So you basically point at an objective they control that has nobody on it, and suddenly they don't control it anymore. And that's really good. It could potentially get you a couple points swing at some time, but it's good. You know, it could potentially win you the game, but it's not amazing. Beacon of Azir is amazing in my opinion. The next time the target uses an ability or a prayer or spell ability, they just auto do it on a 7, which is really strong in a dice game. Obviously, you have some good spells in Stormcast. You have some great prayers in Stormcast, like Translocate, or I think you have a -1 d6 charge spell. So like, you've got some potentially really backbreaking abilities that you could just auto get off with this. And the fact that it's a 7, I believe Iridan, the Witness, at least his new war scroll, his enhanced version of his prayer goes off on a 7. So that's cool. But I mean, magic is random in Age of Sigmar, and praying is pretty random in Age of the fact that this is any hero phase, so you can use this like when you're using magical intervention, makes this amazing. If it was your hero phase only, it would be decent, but being able to use this in the enemy hero phase too makes this absolutely amazing. And then we got Sigil of Morta, which is incredibly annoying. On a 3-up, basically you block your opponent from using a command or a rampage once per turn. So, like, there's so many potentially, like, you could block all out defense, you could block all out attack, you could block a really good monstrous rampage, you could block power through. Like, there's a lot of good stuff you could do with this. And it's not a once per battle, it's just once per turn reaction. So, you know, essentially, this gives you better offensive power or better defensive power just because you can somewhat consistently, it is a 3-up, you can somewhat consistently block all out attack and all out defense, which is great. Love that. But yeah, all 3 of these artifacts, definitely good. Good job, GW. Cooked with those for sure. Then we got the one war scroll, Iridan the Witness. His old war scroll was very disappointing. So they gave him a new one. He's much better in combat now. Damage 3 on the axe is great. Charge +1 damage on the talons is great. So he's basically got 10 attacks at damage 3, which is pretty good. Reroll resistance rolls for Ruination Chamber is solid. He has a 3-up resistance roll of his own, which is also solid. Those two are just pretty solid. It's really, those two are kind of hit or miss in my opinion, because like if you're playing against an army where you just never get to roll the resistance rolls because they don't really have abilities that affect you, it's less useful. But if you're playing against, you know, an army that's got a ton of debuff abilities or like hinder abilities that can be really strong, his prayer chance on a 3 for +1 rend, and if you chance it on a 7, it's +1 rend to 2 units for Ruination Chamber units. The only unit that really comes to mind as super loving this is Reclusians, because they have a lot of attacks at damage 2, so making it rend 2 damage 2 is obviously amazing. I think the way you play Iridan is like him with 2 units of 6 Reclusians probably. But yeah, no, Demands of the Witness is great. Amazing prayer, +1 rend is always good. And then on Wings of Death, his monstrous rampage, in my opinion, is extremely good. On a 3-up, he targets a unit in combat with him, and then he like teleports to a different position, still being in combat with that unit. It's like Balthanos' rampage basically, and we all know how strong that is. You could charge a screen, get edge tagged by it, and then teleport behind it and kill like an important foot hero or something, get into combat with a bunch of crap that you're not supposed to be in combat with. It's like really strong, and you can even use it defensively too, because the secondary effect is if the target charged you this turn, the target gets -1 to hit. So, you know, you're charged by a Gargant, it suplexes you, you teleport back to a safe position, and then make the Gargant -1 to hit, so it's going to do no damage to you. Like, that's a specific example of something you can do with this, but I think it's amazing. Yeah, Iridan's really cool. Great job with him. Good damage, great abilities, good artifacts, interesting hero traits. They definitely cooked with Stormcast here. Stormcast is already really strong, so seeing, you know, obviously it's like, wow, they're going to be really strong now. But we love to see armies get more good choices, so there's more variety in the lists that are good. So, and then yeah, you can see the 320 points for Iridan here. Good price, I approve. We're going to skip over General's Handbook fact number 1 because it's a nothing burger. We'll have more to talk about with the General's Handbook later on. So let's talk about Feck. They got 2 new battle formations, they got 2 new war scrolls, and what's this? Monstrous traits? Oh my god. They're back. Ogre players, Seraphon players rejoice, Ironjawz players rejoice, maybe Kruleboyz players even. Holy heck, monstrous traits are back. We love to see it. And they're even good. So yeah, let's cover them. Battle formations, we got Overwhelming Hordes, which is a no command pylon or a no pylon command for serfs units if they got charged, which is like the worst way they could have done this, in my opinion. If you can charge and then use this command, it'd be very strong, in my opinion. But if an enemy has just charged you, they're going to be like, unless they like barely tagged you with their charge, they're with the charge move, they're going to have enough movement to like get into combat range with you. So like no pylon is not that amazing in this circumstance. Like normally no pylon is extremely strong, but the way they've worded it here and the hoops that you have to jump through here to use it, it makes it less good. And then you got questing courtiers, which is very much made for a like Gristle Gore style monster mash list, where you have a couple of Ghoul King on Beast models, because those guys can kill a thing and then get a ward. Getting a 5-up ward for a little foot hero that's got 6 wounds and is bad in combat is not good, but getting a 5-up ward on a super fuck machine that has a bunch of damage and a bunch of wounds, that's great. So yeah, potentially useful. We'll see if a Gristle Gore style list appears. The monstrous traits, let's talk about those. We've got Revered Monstrosity for +1 to hit rolls for combat attacks made with companion weapons by other friendly, non-unique Flesh Eater Courts monsters while they're wholly within 12. So what does this mean? Basically, it means your guy that's holding this trait is a beacon of +1 to hit to other monsters. So you just all out attack this guy, and then suddenly all of your monsters have +1 to hit. So this is great if you're running multiple monsters. Sorry, just hit my mic. If you're running multiple monsters, this is what you take. If you're running one monster, you look at the other two, but if you're running multiple monsters, literally this is just the one you take because it's the best one for multiple monsters. Savage Abomination is +1 to attacks for companions, so if you're running like a single Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, you give him this one, I think, so he can get, you know, a couple pluses to attacks from various things and then potentially do some good damage. Horribly Resilient is probably not amazing just because the other two are better by itself. Healing D3 or potentially 2d3 if it's a non-hero monster is good, but the other two are better. So yeah, but we love to see monstrous traits where all 3 of them are actually good. So let's talk about the warscrolls. The Aberrant Ghoul King is extremely funny, but not actually competitively good in my opinion. He basically is like, you cluster a bunch of foot heroes together and then they all become amazing in combat. And then when one of them dies, he explodes and gives all of your guys crit 5s for until the start of your next turn, which is hilarious and potentially really good. But I don't really see you playing him in a competitive list. The Gore Warden, however, I definitely see you playing him in a competitive list because of his second ability, Swooping Descent, where he just teleports and steals an objective at the end of enemy turn. You know, they walk off an objective in their turn and then this guy just teleports right to it and takes control of it, which is amazing. He's even not bad in combat if he charges next to a Knight's unit, so he's also 12-inch move flying. Excuse me. And he's a wizard, so Gore Warden, actually competitively viable. Aberrant Ghoul King, hilarious and funny, but probably not competitively viable. Yeah, overall the Feck one is the weakest in my opinion of the 3 we've seen so far, but monstrous traits is extremely exciting. We love to see it, so good job GW, keep cooking. We can just take a gander at the pricing of the Feck heroes real quick. 120 for the Ghoul King, sure. 140 for the Gore Warden is cheap, love it. So yeah, up next we got Gloomspite Gitz. 2 new battle formations, a new spell lore, and then 2 new war scrolls. So let's take a gander. The first of the formations is Subbiter Pack, which gives 3 Git Mob units plus 1 red for companion. So this is your Wolf Riders. They get plus 1 red on their wolves, which is good. And I'm pretty sure that they get the good Git Mob Cavalry Wolf Rider guys. They have strike first when they charge, so having multiple of them charge and then all get plus 1 red and all get to fight first is great. Love that. Gittish Tide is extremely hilarious and pretty strong in my opinion. Plus 1 to control score for each for the target unit for each model that's not contesting it. So basically what this means is a unit of 40 grots, if 1 grot edge tags the objective, that 1 grot has like 40 OC. So it's extremely funny having 1 grot edge tag a thing and then have more OC than a Gargant. Extremely funny, love it. Competitively viable. Like, oh my gosh, I'm yawning so much. I'm not even tired. It's like 2 o'clock. Anyway, whether this is competitively viable or not, it's like really list dependent. If you're running a million grots like Stabas and Shootas and you just want to gunk up objectives forever, this is probably fine. But I think your other subfactions are probably going to be more useful than this, so it's interesting. Spell lore of the Frazzle Git. This one's very much made for Git mob stuff because it involves movement and retreating and stuff like that. So if you want to play a bunch of Git mob guys, here you go. If you don't, there's still probably some decent stuff in here, but maybe not quite as good. Bright Fright lets you retreat a bunch of units as if it was your movement phase in the hero phase. So basically this is super made for Git mob because they have retreat and charge, or they have access to retreat and charge. So you can retreat a bunch of guys and then reposition them in your movement phase and then charge. So you can get a ton of movement out of them. So Bright Fright is definitely potentially useful. I don't think it needs to be your unlimited spell because it already targets up to 3 in an AoE. So it's like, you're probably not going to cast this more than once, but I guess it's fine. Git speed is just great. It's sad that it doesn't give +2 move to Troggoths, because that would be super needed for Troggoths, but I understand why they did that, because they don't want Troggoths to be fast. So it makes your fast guys faster and it makes your slow screens a bit faster. So it's a good spell. Bonus movement is always good. Gaze of Glare phase. Until the start of your next turn, the target can't run and they have half the range for their ranged weapons. No run is really strong because it also blocks redeploy. Have the ranged weapons is like situationally useful. The spell is a bit of a silver bullet, but into certain matchups, I think this could be quite strong. Overall, for a spell lore, it's like, it's fine. I don't know if it's better than your current Gitz spell lore, but it's fine. It gives you some interesting tech potentially, so yeah. It's all interesting spells though. Like, they're all well-written rules that are interesting and they're diverse, so we love to see it. So GW is still, the rules writing quality here is quite high. So yeah, let's look at the Scourge of Scourge of Ghyran war scrolls here for the Fanatics. Both the Fanatics got new war scrolls. So Balloon Smash and Fanatics are less random now. They used to be D6 attacks, or the other war scroll is D6 attacks. This one is 3 attacks, so a little bit more consistent here. And then they have Lost in the Horde now, which lets them hide in a Shootas or Stabas unit, more or less, and then deploy last minute and do something funny. So this is what Fanatics should do, in my opinion, so I'm glad they're doing it now. Whirling Destruction is hilarious and super strong, in my opinion. So what it does is, you pick your unit of 10 Fanatics or 5 Fanatics, but you're probably doing 10. That's hiding in the Stabas unit. The Stabas unit charges. You pick the the Stabas unit to dump these guys out. They dump out wholly within 3 of the Stabas, and then they Destruction Derby 2d6 inches through the chaff screens and through whatever the Stabas just charged, doing d6 mortal wounds to everything they pass across, and then they end in combat and do d6 mortal wounds to everything in combat with them, and then they can fight. So like, this is hilarious. If your opponent positions poorly, you could potentially do like 4 or 5 d6 mortal wounds to them before you attack them. And passing through enemy models with 2d6 inches, and these guys they don't take up a whole lot of space. Their bases are relatively small. This is hilarious and awesome, and going to be quite strong, I think. Fanatics are definitely back. And then the other Fanatics, the Spore Splatter Fanatics, still not amazing in combat. -1 attacks is potentially kind of interesting. Into certain armies, it can make them kind of annoying to kill. It is a solid debuff. And then Spinning Loons is it's basically Whirling Destruction without the damage, but it's at the end of the turn. At the end of the turn, these guys just straight move 2d6, and they can move into combat range of enemy units. They can move through the combat range, and then they can finish that move in combat. So the way I see this being strong, you run like 4 MSU units of Spore Splatter Fanatics, which is pretty easy because you'll see they're super cheap. And then they just endlessly crawl forward and tie your opponents up in pointless, annoying combats, delaying them from getting to you while your Troggoths get in position. So I think that Spinning Loons is very strong. If your opponent's not ready to play around this, they will completely get wrecked by it because it will just lock them down in combat forever. This has the potential to be incredibly strong and annoying, you know, by a player who's ready to abuse how like techie this is. So I'm a big fan of it. I'm definitely going to try this out. I used to play Gitz a long time ago. Haven't in a while, but these 2 abilities both are very fun and I want to try them. So yeah, A+ effort on both the Fanatic warscrolls. They're awesome. The new spell lore is potentially interesting. The new battle formations are whatever, but we love getting new warscrolls the most anyway, so yeah. So let's take a gander at those points really quickly. 70 for Spore Splatters is really, really cheap. 110 for Loon Smasher Fanatics is great. 210 for a solid hammer that also does something really funny and annoying. 70 points for a screen that also does something really annoying is great. So yeah, the Gloomspite Gitz one, great work, very good, very nice. So let's cover, they also showed in this article how battle tactics are changing, so let's talk about that really quickly. So how this works now is in army composition, you pick 2 battle tactics cards. We don't know how many there are. We know there is at least 5, but you pick 2, each of which has an overarching theme such as scouting or destroying foes or controlling specific objectives. Each card contains 3 tactics and you have the length of the game to complete as many of them as possible. The twist is that you have to complete them in order and they get progressively harder. So let's take a look at Scouting Force here. At the start of the battle, every friendly non-hero infantry and non-hero cavalry unit wholly within friendly territory becomes a scout unit. You cannot complete battle tactics with scout units that are in combat, and replacement units that replace scout units are also scout units. So the first one is Raiding Party. You complete this tactic at the end of your turn if there's 3 or more friendly scout units wholly outside friendly territory. Now, this could be really easy or really hard depending on the positioning of the territory of the new battle plans. So if they're like 50% of the territory is yours and 50% of the territory is your opponent's, this is actually quite hard to do. But if it's like only a tiny square of it is yours and only a tiny square is your opponent's, this is really easy to do. So this is largely map dependent, and you need fast units to be able to do this. So that's Raiding Party. After Raiding Party comes Bold Explorers. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if 3 or more objectives or terrain features that you control in any combination are being contested by any friendly scout units. those objectives and terrain features must be within enemy territory. So again, this is largely mission dependent, how easy or difficult this is. I would say it is harder than Raiding Party though. So, and then finally, we've got Courageous Adventurers. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if a friendly scout unit that was not set up this turn, so no teleporting shenanigans, is contesting a terrain feature that you control that is wholly within enemy territory and is more than 6 from friendly territory. So this could be, this one is also really dependent on the mission. This could be damn near impossible, like depending on how the deployment shakes out, or depending on how the battle plan and how the terrain layout is and how the your opponent's territory is, or this could be pretty easy. So this whole scouting force one is largely mission dependent, but as for my opinion, I love how they're doing this, right? So you pick 2 battle tactics cards. You have the whole game to complete both of them, which means you can start working on them as soon or as late as you want. You know, as late as turn 3 or as early as turn 1. You can take a break basically on like turn 2 or turn 3 and not think about getting tactics if you want, and just think about positioning and think about, you know, killing your opponent or scoring objectives or stuff like that. Like, you have so much more flexibility now, and your game plan is a little bit more tailored now, obviously, so your opponent will be able to see what your game plan is and they'll be able to counterplay it better, but also you can also counterplay their counterplay, because they'll never know what turn you're attempting to do this thing, because you're not calling a battle tactic at the start of your turn anymore. It's just, you could be sneaky about it and then be like, bam, I scored Bold Explorers at the end of my turn, and your opponent's like, ah, crap, I didn't realize you were going for it now and I wasn't prepared for it, so good job, you got it. But so it's like, there's a whole new mini game now. There's potentially a lot of flexibility with this. I love that you choose these cards in list creation, so you can make different lists that play different styles. And yeah, it's just like, it's really interesting and a really fun new system that I like. It's way better than our current battle tactics system, in my opinion. So I'm excited to see where they go with this. Good job so far, GW. I'm excited to see more. So let's talk about Nighthaunt now. Nighthaunt came out yesterday, I believe, and they got 2 new battle formations, 3 new artifacts, and 2 new war scrolls. So let's cover them. The first of the new battle formations is Greedy for Souls. Pick a friendly Nexus of Grief, which is the new terrain feature, to be the target. For the rest of the turn, the target has a move characteristic of 3 inches. It can immediately move up to 3 inches, and it can move into combat, but cannot end that move on a terrain feature or within 3 of an objective. So basically what this lets you do is it lets you crawl your terrain features around a little bit, which I'm not sure how useful or useless that will be. I haven't seen the Nexus of Grief. I think there is a war scroll for it, or at least some rules for it out there on the internet that I have to take a look at, but I don't know what it does, so I don't know if this is good or not. My worry is that they're just going to be like 6 wounds on a 4-up save and your opponent could just kill them immediately and you have no way to bring them back, and then this subfaction does nothing. So yeah, that would be my worry. And then we got Death Rust Geists. Once per turn, army, enemy hero phase. Pick an enemy unit that's in combat with any Nighthaunt units to be the save, and they get -1 to save for the rest of the turn. Nighthaunt as an army is durable enough where you could have troops in combat with enemy troops in the enemy hero phase. And you do have countercharge, you know, to get another unit in combat, to maybe capitalize off the -1 save. So I could see this being useful. Not sure how useful, but it is interesting. So as far as like compared to the current battle formations for Nighthaunt, neither of these come to even close how strong like Deathstalkers is. So I doubt you'll run either of these over Deathstalkers, but they're both like not bad, I think. So let's talk about artifacts now. We've got the Stave of Suffering. While this unit is within 12 inches of any damaged enemy units or enemy units that have any models slain, Add 1 to casting for friendly Nighthaunt wizards while they're wholly within 12 of this unit. So you got to get close a little bit, like potentially uncomfortably close to the enemy, but +1 to cast, especially in this day and age, is really, really strong. Because a lot of spells cast on 6s and 7s now, and bonuses to cast and bonuses to cast are rare. Bonuses to unbind are even rarer. So if you've got a list where you've got like 2 or 3 casts in it, and you want to like have, you know, a lot of spells going off, I could see this being useful. Up next is the Amulet of the Waking Nightmares. Pick a visible enemy hero within 18 of this unit to be the target. Roll a dice. On a 3-up for the rest of the turn, the target cannot be affected by guarded hero or obscuring. You've only got 1 shooting unit in Nighthaunt that actually does any damage, and I'm pretty sure that the crossbow's range is not super long, so I'm not sure how good ignoring guarded hero is actually here. This one's probably just bad. Yeah, this one's probably just bad. I think you're definitely not taking this over like, yeah, no, you're not. I don't think you're taking this one. And then we got Tombstone of the Penitent. Add 1 to the attacks characteristics of this unit's melee weapons for each non-faction terrain feature that is being contested by friendly units to a maximum of 8. So I don't think, maybe this is funny with the Lord Executioner. I think the Lord Executioner has like a pretty decent combat profile, but I don't know, man. This doesn't like, I'm for one generally a hater of foot heroes that want to fight. So I don't know. I think the best one here of these 3 is probably Stave of Suffering. I think it's the most useful. I'm not a Nighthaunt player, so I don't really know how useful these are going to be actually. But to my brain, the most competitively viable one is definitely Stave of Suffering. So they're interesting though. The artifacts are at least interesting. They're they're interestingly written, and they play with some interesting mechanics. So I'd love to see GW explore the space. So let's talk about the War Scrolls here, and I've heard that these are insanely good. So let's see. Kurdos the Craven King, 7 health, 8 move, 4 up, save 5 control, 6 up ward, 5 attacks, 3s, 2/3 with crit auto. Pretty slappy. We've got Inescapable Mockery. Add 1 to hit rolls and wound rolls for this unit's combat attacks that target an enemy unit that has a lower control characteristic than this unit. He's got a controls characteristic of 5, so basically anything that isn't a monster, he's going to get +1 to hit and wound against, which is great. Puts him on 2s and 2s, Rend 2 damage 3, which is pretty gnarly actually. Then we've got a Trader's Legacy. If this unit is in combat, pick a visible friendly Nighthaunt unit wholly within 12 to be the target, and pick one of the following to apply for the rest of the turn. The target's melee have anti-hero +1 rend, niche but potentially useful. Add 5 to the target's control score, niche but potentially useful. Enemy units cannot use combats while they're in combat with the target, or cannot use commands while they're in combat with the target. And how long does this last? For the rest of the turn. Okay, wow, that's good. No commands for the rest of the turn while in combat with this unit is crazy strong. You're blocking power through, you're blocking all out defense and all out attack, like, and this is any combat phase. Woo. He does have to get in combat, but he could just get in combat with a screen. He's going to win against a fight against a foot hero or a screen or a medium to low, like a low damage unit. Like you're comfortable putting him in combat with it because of the ethereal 4-up save, 7 health, 6 up ward. Kurdos looking kind of good. Like, a Trader's Legacy is very interesting. No commands is always really strong, especially right now. So yeah, I like it. Now let's talk about one of my favorite models in the entire game, the Black Coach. 12 health, 10-inch move, 4-up save, 5 control, 6 up ward. We've got 5 attacks, 3s, Rend 2/2 with charge +1 damage and crit auto. And then we've got 8 attacks, 4s, 3s, Rend 2/2. So the thing slaps, actually, like finally, it's actually good in combat. And then it's got 3 abilities, it looks like. So let's take a gander. Once per turn, army any hero phase. Pick one of the following to apply for the rest of the turn. This unit's melee weapons, including companion, have crit mortal instead of crit auto. You got 13 attacks, so you're probably going to get 2 crits. So it's good for 4. It's good for like 5 mortal wounds, it looks like to me, potentially. So that's not bad. Unholy Grail. Pick a friendly Nighthaunt unit wholly within 12 of this unit. Each time that unit uses the rally command, you receive 3 additional rally points. Okay, so guaranteed 3 additional rally points. So that means on average, you're going to heal 6, I think. You roll 6 dice. On average, you get 3 4s, plus 3 is 6. So that's pretty good. And then Tome of Undead Lore. This unit has Wizard 1. Wow, okay. That's pretty good. Okay, Spectral Attendance is pretty nice. I like that you don't have to roll for it. I like that it gives you 3 potentially different things. Unholy Grail is actually crazy because a lot of the bigger Nighthaunt units like this thing, 12 health with a 4-up ethereal save and a 6 support, that's actually pretty durable. So healing like 6 on it like is pretty good if you just rally itself. And then making it have the ability to become a wizard with how fast it is potentially really good. I like Spectral Attendance. This is a fun rule. This is a well-written and very interesting rule. So let's keep reading. So we got once per turn army any hero phase. So both of these are once per turn army any hero phase, which is really nice. Love to see any hero phase. Pick an objective you do not control to be the target. For the rest of the turn, while enemy units are contesting the target objective, they cannot score critical hits while this unit is also contesting it. Interesting. So that could be some extra protection. Really good against certain armies, great against Chosen. Great against anything that relies on crit auto or crit mortal. Great against Lumineth. A bit niche, but potentially really good. And then we got Spectral Carriage. Your charge phase. For the rest of the phase, add 1 to the number of... Okay, yeah, so he gets a 3d6 charge in your charge phase. So what does he do? He's fast. He flies, yep, he's fast, flying. He's pretty solid in melee. He 3d6 charges. He can be a wizard. He gives you rally bonuses. He can get crit mortal and then randomly do a bunch of mortal wounds. And he can be randomly kind of durable against certain units. He looks fun. Like he actually looks, the coach looks really interesting and fun. I love 3d6 charge. Love the becomes a wizard 1. Yeah, that's interesting. How much does he cost? 280. I think that's cheaper than the current black coach. We can actually check. Let me pull up my my phone real quick and see what the price of the current black coach is. But 280 is... I would play it at 280 personally. Current black coach is 240. Okay, no, so it's actually more expensive than the current black coach. And the current black coach teleports a bunch and is significantly worse in combat, if I remember correctly. So I like it. I like both of these. Like, yeah, good work, GW. Like, both of these war scrolls are very interesting. The black coach finally has really a fun war scroll. The artifacts are potentially interesting. Formations leave a little bit to be desired, but GW is doing a great job, man. They're cooking. Like all of these, I haven't really seen any rules yet where I'm just like, yeah, that's actually just terrible and not fun and lame. Like they're doing good. So yeah, let's look at, up next is Cities of Sigmar, and this is the last one, I believe. So we got 2 new battle formations, 3 new heroic traits, and 2 new war scrolls. So what have we got for formations? Once per turn army, your shooting phase, pick up to 3 great cannons, and they each can re-roll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, or 1 random damage characteristic for the damage roll. Okay. That's interesting. I mean, when you got 2 shots that hit on 4s and wound on 2s and then have a random damage characteristic, Potentially re-rolling one hit is very interesting. I kind of like this. Like, the cannons, they're really cheap. So you could just easily slot 3 cannons into your list. And with the reroll, they're pretty consistent. So I could see this actually being pretty good. Yeah, not bad. And then we got Frontline Leader. Pick a friendly Cities of Sigmar human infantry hero to use this ability. Okay, so super specific there. Then you pick up to 1 friendly non-hero human infantry and 1 friendly human war machine, wholly within 12 to be the targets. You get +1 rend to the infantry's melee and +1 rend to the war machine's ranged weapons until the start of your next turn, while they're wholly within 12. I think I'll just take Candy Crews instead. I think I'll take the veteran cannoneers instead. 1 cannon getting +1 to rend versus 3 cannons getting rerolls. I guess a steam tank could maybe get +1 rend as well. Nah, I'm good. I mean, +1 rend to your infantry. None of the human infantry are like super amazing in combat. I think like steel helms are like whatever. Command Corps is maybe okay. You don't really have any like Palador chosen blender human infantry though. So I think veteran cannoneers is the better one here. I could actually see this one getting play. So yeah, not bad. Heroic traits, we got Draw Steel. Any combat phase, if this unit charged this turn, pick a friendly Cities of Sigmar human unit. It doesn't say other, so you can pick yourself that charged this turn and is wholly within 12 of this unit to be the target. +1 attacks. Okay, so now you have +2 attacks potentially for a cavalry unit, 1 from the Order and 1 from Draw Steel. That's kind of scary. Cavaliers already have like 3 attacks each, I think. So having a unit of 10 Cavaliers have 50 attacks at damage 2, that's kind of terrifying actually. +1 attacks to Command Corps is also potentially terrifying. Like, and it's just any combat phase, you can use this multiple times. Okay, I'm scared now. Cosmopolitan Leader. Pick a friendly Cities of Sigmar infantry or cavalry, so any cities unit, wholly within 12 to be the target. If this unit that holds the trait is human, you can pick up to 3. Okay. Roll a dice on a 3-up. Okay, so it's pick up to 3 eligible units to be the targets, and then roll a dice on a 3. So you roll for each one if you pick up to 3, it seems like. Target's human, you get +1 to wound. Great. If it's Duardin, you get +1 to charge. Meh. If it's elf, you get +3 to control. Also meh. Okay, so I'm seeing a bit of a theme here. They're really wanting you to play humans. Cosmopolitan Leader seems pretty good actually. Potentially 3 units getting +1 to wound. It's a shame that you can only pick 1 heroic trait, because I would love to pick both Draw Steel and Cosmopolitan Leader, but I think you already have enough human stuff that's like okay in combat. +1 to wound for the combat attacks is, yeah, it's good. Yeah, Cosmopolitan Leader seems pretty good. Then we got Astute Tactician. Pick a friendly Cities of Sigmar unit wholly within 12 to be the target. For the rest of the turn, get +1 to charge and 2 to run rolls. Nah, I'm good. I'll take Draw Steel or Cosmopolitan Leader over both of those any day. Like, what is the one that Cities players are taking right now? It's when it's for a shooting unit. When they get all out attack, they get +1 to hit and +1 to wound. So if you're making a melee list, Cosmopolitan Leader is actually probably better than that. Draw Steel is also maybe better than that. So it really depends on list composition, I think. But I think both Draw Steel and Cosmopolitan Leader could see play. I'm sure my buddy Rhino and my buddy Frog will watch this video and tell me off, but we'll see. So let's take a gander at these new war scrolls. Pontifex Zenestra, 9 health, 5 move, 5 save, 2 control, 4-up save. No good in combat, but kind of durable. Word of the God King, any hero phase, okay? Pick an enemy, wizard, priest, or manifestation with an AT to be the target. Roll a dice on a 3-up. If the target is a manifestation, it is banished. Otherwise, inflict amount of mortal damage to the target equal to the roll. What? Any hero phase, just straight deal D6 mortal wounds to an enemy, priest, or wizard within 18? Christ, that's good. Okay. That's just straight up terrifying. Okay. So she's just popping heroes left and right. All right, and then we got her prayer. She's a priest too, so we got Sigmar's will. Chanting roll of d6. If the roll is an unmodified one, you can reroll it. Sure, why not? Just get a free reroll. Pick one of the following effects to apply until the start of your next turn. Okay, pick up 2 if the chanting roll was 10+. Hallowed ground. Enemy units using the normal move ability cannot end that move within 5 inches of a of a friendly Cities of Sigmar unit that is wholly within 12 of this unit. Wow, that's annoying. So they're outside of 5 of you, and then you redeploy, and you get on average 4 inches, like 3 inches, 4 inches with a redeploy, and now they're 9 inches away from you. Okay. Fervent prayers. Each time a friendly Cities of Sigmar human model that is wholly within 12 of this unit is slain by a combat attack, and that model was in combat with the attacking unit, roll a dice. On a 6, inflict 1 mortal damage on the attacking unit after the fight ability has been resolved. Maybe Q with a bunch of flagellants, flatulence, I don't know. Not as good as Hallowed Ground. And then Salvation. Pick up to 3 friendly Cities of Sigmar human units to be the targets. Remove those units from, remove those units from the battlefield and set them up wholly within 12 of this unit and not in combat. But not outside of 9? Okay. Those units cannot use charge abilities for the rest of the turn. Okay, well. Oh boy. So Sinestra's just an auto-include now, huh? No matter how much she costs, she's literally just an auto-include now. Jesus Christ. She punks all of the enemy heroes within the first 2 battle rounds, and then she just teleports crap everywhere and makes it impossible for you to get in combat with her. I can barely imagine the amount of like crazy shenanigans you can do. Like imagine if you're like, all right, I'm gonna pick these units to kill for my battle tactic this turn. Salvation, teleport those units away. You fail your battle tactic. Okay. All right, Sinestra, you're the goat. And then we got Cavaliers. 3 health, 10-inch move, 3 up save, 1 control. 2 attacks. Okay, I was wrong. They're 2 attacks, not 3 attacks. Charge +1 damage, 3s, 4s, rend 1/1. Charge +1 damage, okay. And then horse attacks. Then we got 1 ability, any charge phase, the red work. If this unit is in combat and has not charged this turn, pick this unit and up to 1 friendly Free Guild Cavalier Marshal or Free Guild Marshal on Griffin within this unit's combat range to be the target. Roll a dice. Add 1 to the roll if there are fewer models in this unit than the total number of enemy models in units that are in combat with this unit. Okay, so if you charge a big screen, you probably get this. On a 4-up, for the rest of the turn, the targets count as having charged. Oh, we're doing this again? Okay. Okay. So you shove 20 Cavaliers down your opponent's throat. You throw a bucket of attacks, rend 1 damage 2, you kill a bunch of crap, and then you're still tied up, and then your opponent charges you, does some damage to you, and then it flips back to your turn. You roll 2 dice, probably on 3-ups. You just count as having charged again, and then you throw a bucket of dice, damage 2. Okay. It's pretty good. So what, does every cities list just take 20 Cavaliers now, and Sinestra and Talia? Is that just what you do now, maybe? I don't know. I don't know about Talia, but I feel like you just take Cavaliers now and Sinestra. Wow, this might be the strongest war scroll we've gotten yet. Like, the ones that stand out to me, of the new war scrolls that we've gotten, the ones that really stand out to me as being very, very strong or very fun and interesting: Sinestra, the new Screaming Bell, the new Black Coach, Iridan, and then the new Fanatics. But like, man, that's good. Sinestra's crazy, dude. I'm kind of at a loss for words with how strong she is. Word of the God King is like actually toxic. Like, holy. And her prayer is so strong. Goodness. And how much do these cost? Sinestra's 250. Okay, sure. Yeah, that's reasonable. No, that's wow, she's good. And the Cavaliers are 160. They're out of their mind. For how durable that unit is, 160? 320 for 30 wounds. on a 3-up, 5-up, because your cities, you're always going to have a 5-up when you want it. Goodness. Okay. Tomorrow, you'll need to bring your wading boots as we're hitting the swamps, crew boys, and going all out with how commands work. Oh, they're reworking commands. Interesting. How commands work in the new General's Handbook. Okay, wow. I need to sit back after that. That was crazy. So, cities, amazing. Nighthaunt, very cool. Gitz, amazing. Beck, decent. Stormcast, amazing. Skaven, amazing. GW's cooking, guys. They got some good stuff happening. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see more stuff. Yeah, if you guys want to see me just cover these every day, let me know. If you guys don't mind where I let the week play out and then post it on Sunday or whatever, and then you can just view me reacting to all of them in a row, let me know. But yeah, that's my thoughts on all the new Scourge of Ghyran stuff so far. Some of it scares me. The Gitz stuff scares me, and the city stuff scares me. Some of it I can't wait to get my hands on, like the new Skaven stuff and the new Gitz stuff. But yeah, oh boy, yeah. Well, that's it. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'll see you in the next one.